What's up, you guys? So I am back with another episode of My Favorite Color Was Gray. I wanted to come and do a different video today. This video will not be like any other video that I've done. Today I am doing a video that is specifically Bible based. Okay, so I'm just going to talk about the characteristics of a believer, one, and we're going to see those characteristics played out in women in the Bible. Okay, so this series will be just heavily focused on the women of the word, and the characteristics they displayed that were congruent to the fruits of the spirit that God talks about in his word, right? Make no mistake about it, I definitely got my notes here because baby, I don't know the Bible backwards and forward. Okay, there are certain scriptures I can pull from the top of my head, but not all of them. Okay, and I don't think honestly I'll ever be able to do it unless God give me some supernatural memory and being able to compartmentalize it and all this stuff, because he knows how just messed up my brain is, right? So yeah, and I really just want you guys to listen closely, listen to understand, but more importantly, I want you guys to have your Bibles with you. I don't want y'all to just be listening to me thinking that I got, you know, all the answers or whatever. No. I pulled these from my book, my Bible, right? And I'm not doing this video to tailor the Bible to my lifestyle. I'm doing this video because my lifestyle should be tailored to the word, to the Bible, right? So when I'm doing something wrong in my life, or I'm not sure something that's going on in my life, guess what I do? I go back and I look in the Bible and see, Lord, is this congruent with your word? Am I doing what's in alignment to your will? So I use the word to guide my path, you know, to lead me into the right direction, not to get away with this sin or get away with that sin or find what appears to be loopholes. You know, oh, I can drink wine. Jesus drank wine at the wedding and blah blah blah. No, that's not how the Bible works, and that's not how I use it, and I'm definitely not going to use it on this platform in that way. So let's get started with one of my favorite books of the Bible. There's actually a great YouTube depiction of it, and it's not verbatim how the word lays out the story, but the message is there, is very clear. You cannot mistake what is being said in that YouTube rendition of the book of Ruth. I absolutely love this book. It just shows God's providence at work in so many ways. It shows just how he orchestrates situations in our lives for his glory, for his benefit. You know, he does it because he's gonna get the glory out of it. You know, the way he puts puzzle pieces together without us even seeing, knowing, being able to comprehend how it happens, just all encompassing, all amazing, hard to actually, you know, understand how he does it, but he did, and he did it for Ruth. So I want to start off first by quoting Galatians 5:22 through 26. 22 says, "But the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, long-suffering, gentleness, goodness, faith." Verse 23 says, "Meekness, temperance. Against such there is no law." 24, this is Galatians 5:24. "And they that are Christ's have crucified the flesh with the affections and lusts." Verse 25 says, "If we live in the Spirit, let us also walk in the Spirit." And then verse 26, "Let us not be desirous of vain glory, provoking one another, envying one another." Okay, so now that we know the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, long-suffering, gentleness, goodness, faith, meekness, and temperance, right? If we're saying we're Christians, these are the characteristics that are supposed to permeate through us. These are those characteristics. You know, we shouldn't I mean, although we may struggle with long suffering, you know, maybe we need a little bit more practice in long suffering, or we need a little bit more practice with gentleness, right? Still, you know, and God know whether you are actively working on any one of these fruits that need to be fine-tuned. You know that, and God knows that. So, and the people around you know it, you know, because the people around you are going to see your growth too. They're going to know whether or not you're actively trying to grow spiritually, or, you know, mentally, emotionally. They're going to see that. Whether you're trying to do it or not, they're going to see that. So you're not fooling anybody if you act like, or just say out your mouth, you know, I'm trying to do this better, I'm trying to do that better, and it don't show in your behavior. You're not fooling nobody, right? Nowadays, people are so against being corrected for whatever reason. People don't want to be told what they are doing wrong, what they have done wrong, or what they can do better or do right. It's a hard thing to try to sell people the truth, even though, you know, it's not for sale. It's like, you know, trying to convince somebody that the sky blue. You know, that's not my interpretation of the sky. That's just what it is. That's a fact. You know, but people just will not accept truth. And to get more specific, women, you know, women, we, for whatever reason, believe that most of what we do is right. Now, all people have this syndrome, true, but I'm only focusing on the women, right? Because I don't believe in teaching a man anything. I just don't. And you can take that for what it is, or however you want to take it. I just don't believe in teaching a man anything. That's not for me to do. So this video is geared towards women. We don't like to take accountability for what it is we have done wrong, or are doing wrong. You know, it's almost like we're being cursed at when somebody's trying to tell us, hey, you did this wrong, or can you do this better, or hey, you hurt me like this, blah, blah, blah. It's like we're being cursed at. And we create this big blow up because we don't want to be told what we're doing wrong. And how you calling yourself a Christian if that's the case? How you so sure that you are a Christian if you don't possess these fruits of the Spirit? Because these come out when you are practicing Christian. These fruits of the Spirit, this love, joy, peace, long-suffering, gentleness, goodness, faith, meekness, temperance, those come out when you are a practicing Christian. Okay? And in the book of Ruth, we see how some of her fruits come out. We see. Okay, so I want to start with Ruth. So if you guys know the story of Ruth, Ruth was a pagan, or she grew up in paganism. Her background, she was a Moabitess from the country of Moab. I think a Ephrathite from Bethlehem, Judah. So these were Hebrews who went to Moab to escape famine in their land. So this Ephrathite family from Bethlehem, Judah was Elimelech, his wife Naomi, their two sons Mahlon and Chilion, or Chilion, however you pronounce it, Chilion. These four individuals went to Moab to escape famine in their land of Bethlehem, Judah. The sons Mahlon and Chilion took Moabitess wives while they were in the land. Mahlon married Ruth, and Chilion married Orpah. Okay, so during this time, Naomi, which was the matriarch, the mom, she lost her husband and her two sons, right? So she was just left, her and the two daughter-in-laws. Well, Naomi was getting ready to go back to her original, her native land, which was Bethlehem, Judah. She was going back there, and she entreated her daughter-in-laws to stay in their land because she said she didn't have any more sons for them to marry. She was really trying to push them to stay in their land, stay among their people, stay with their gods. She was like, you guys just stay here. I don't have anything else to offer you. And again, you go back, you read Ruth, the story is there. If you feel like I am wrong with anything I'm saying, please leave me a comment, question, or concern, right? But I again encourage you to follow along with me as we're talking about the story of Ruth. So she tells her daughter-in-laws to stay. Orpah, who was married to her son Chilion, Orpah, she accepted the entreatment of her mother-in-law, and she stayed in her land amongst her people with their gods. Ruth, on the other hand, was not satisfied to stay. So we see in Ruth 1:14, it said, but Ruth clave to her, meaning she clung to her. Ruth 1:16, it says, and Ruth said, entreat me not to leave thee, or to return from following thee, or to return from following after thee, For whither thou goest, I will go, and where thou lodgest, I will lodge. Thy people shall be my people, and thy God my God. So in reverence and love for her elder, do you see that? Ruth did not want to stay in her native land. She loved her mother-in-law so much, she revered her mother-in-law so much that she did not want to be separated from her. Okay, that's a deep kind of love. Deep kind of love for an elder, right? Ruth 1:17 said, where thou diest will I die, and there will I be buried. The Lord do so to me, and move also, if aught but death put thee apart. Put part thee and me. I'm sorry. This was a huge decision on the part of Ruth. She did not know where she was going, what the culture would be like, how it would affect her. She just knew she did not want this lady to be apart from her. She knew she did not want to be apart from this lady. And again, if we're going back to the YouTube movie that has this depiction of the story of Ruth, in the movie, she told her that her God will be her God. Oh, in the word too, I'm sorry. Ruth 1:16 said that thy people shall be my people, and thy God my God. She was willing to give up everything she knew just to go and adopt this whole new lifestyle because of her mother-in-law. She revealed her elder. She loved her, which is a characteristic of the fruit of the Spirit if you're a Christian. That's a characteristic. Love, peace, gentleness, goodness, faith, meekness, temperance. Those are part of the fruit of the Spirit that Ruth is showing to her elder. She showed those fruits to her elder, her mother-in-law. Ruth 2:2 said, this is once they got back to Bethlehem, Judah. Ruth 2:2 said, and Ruth the Moabitess said unto Naomi, let me now go to the field and glean ears of corn after him in whose sight I shall find grace. And she said unto her, go, my daughter. Now, because we can't see the inside of Ruth, we don't really know her motivation for wanting to be sort of like this help to her mother-in-law. We're not entirely sure why exactly she want to be such a help to her mother-in-law. However, it's not for us to know. It's not for us to know, because those fruits, even though we will see them over time, or we seen in the little short amount of time that we read the 4 chapters in Ruth, we still don't know the heart of Ruth. We could never know that. But God knows. God did know. He knew her heart. He knew without a shadow of a doubt that this pagan woman will honor me with her behavior, will honor me with her lifestyle changes, with her profession of me. This pagan woman now, this was a pagan lady, right? She grew up in rituals, is what the movie tells us. She grew up with rituals, apparently sacrifices. She grew up, completely in opposition to God. Completely in opposition. All to denounce that and embrace the God of her mother-in-law. That is love on a whole nother level. That's love. How do we know, what made Ruth want to change her ways? Don't know. The love she had for her mother-in-law, something that her mother-in-law showed her, gave her comfort to the point where she was like, I don't want to lose this. Something in her mother-in-law comforted her, which led her to converting, to the Hebrew faith, to the God of Israel, right? So Ruth had been showing those fruits, those spiritual fruits to her mother-in-law. She had love for that lady. She had reverence for her mother-in-law. And by God, Boaz shows favor to Ruth. Now again, we can't see what's in Ruth's heart. God does though. God sees what's in this lady's heart. And he starts showering blessings on her.